Hi everyone. Um Today is going to be another personality type video. Um so I wanted to talk and see, like, is introvert, extrovert, is INFJ, HNS, HSP, INTJ, ENFJ, whatever you want to say. Is it is it genetic or is it learned? Now, this is probably the age old question, is just in general, is personality genetic or learned, or so? I feel like in a way it could be genetic, but I'm leaning more towards learned. And this is obviously the only experience I can reference is my own experience, but and then and I'm more aware of my personality. I feel like I'm more aware of my personality as I get older, obviously, because when you're younger, obviously, you don't remember stuff about yourself, obviously, like, especially when you were a baby, you don't remember your own personality, and the people around you remember your own personality, and your and when you're a kid, you're more dependent on others to give you what you need, and like to give you shelter. You, like, if you have your parents or guardians, you rely on them for shelter, you rely on them for food, you rely on them for love. um so um so you worry about your own autonomy, but at the same time, it's not it's not a priority to worry about. Your priority is just wondering, like, our primordial things that we survival skills, like what how in your person, like, how do we survive, and like personality comes last. And this is all in my opinion, I feel like. But like now, since I'm still living with my mom, but I mean, now since I have become more independent and I'm doing stuff for myself, I am realizing that I can't that people don't can't run my life. And people can't make decisions for me anymore. I have to make my own decisions now. That being said, I was always pretty much a very independent kid, and I was pretty much a very smart kid. So I would, like, well, I don't want to say smart as in I was a cautious kid. I would think I would usually stay between the lines and not even go the near even think about going past the line. I was usually a cautious person. I would do what I'm supposed to do and don't do that. I know that. And so when I was younger, like when I was a really kid, like when I moved here, if you guys don't know where I live in Milton, Massachusetts, and I was born in Roxbury, Massachusetts. Um, and at 2 years old, I lived in Milton, Massachusetts, and my brother was like 6 months when we moved here too. So, I was a pretty upbeat kid. I feel like I would say hi to everyone, and um, I would try to make friends with everyone, and I like really like making friends a lot, and that to this day I do. it's kind of weird. I like making friends, but I kind of don't want friends. Now it's complicated because I like making friends, but I kind of don't want friends. I mean, because now because I really, you know what? I'll talk about it later. And uh, so on, and now I go and so then I feel like everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. but um but I feel like everything changed when I turned 7 and um I was in second grade. And if you guys don't know, I have ataxia, and so I basically lost when I was 7. I basically lost all of my motor skills, gross and fine motor skills. If we don't know what gross motor skills are, it's basically kind of like balancing, and like my fine motor skills would be probably like use my fingers to do stuff, and I have to focus a lot about that when, and I know what that is because I went through child development classes, and I have to focus a lot about that when I go to school, when I go to my daycare, and I'm making observations about my babies that I'm specifically babies. You have to do that with the toddlers in the preschool, but since I don't work with them and I work with infants, babies, that's the real big thing. The motor skills are really big, and it's significant because I feel like it's a lot really significant when I would the detection was very significant when I was 7 is because that's around the time where you're still developing technique. You're still developing because it's child development is basically seen as from some people want to say, I think it's some people want to say from fetus to to like 12, and then some other people want to go up to another, some people want to go up further like to 18 or something, or 16, I don't know. But all I know is all I know is like you're still, that's where when you finally realize that you are you can remember more, you have more of a capacity to remember stuff now. You have more, you can actually think for yourself now, and you can finally be more independent. That's why that's one of the reasons why. And the thing that really sucked about when I got that time when I got a taxi, I was just finishing learning how to ride a bike, and my dad he didn't he didn't even buy me a kid bike. He I learned I learned on his bike. I learned on an adult bike. So I was just finishing learning how to ride a bike, and then ataxia happens. I can't even walk. Like, it stinks. That stinks. And so and I was and by the way, I was already my mom said when I was younger, I was also basically an independent kid, a very independent person. I mean, not independent like I didn't need anyone obviously, but I knew what needed to be done. Like, she even said that she did not need, it was very easy to potty train me. Like, I knew what I needed to do. That was it may be a little too much information, but now you know. um so when I So I feel like when that happened, that was a very traumatic experience to me, especially being someone that little. And I just shut down, and like, cause I didn't want to relive that experience, I didn't want, my class knew, because I came in one day, and when cause I was in the hospital for a month, and I stayed home for like 2 or 3 months. Um, well, probably it was a little less than that, but I don't know. But I came in one time and my mom talked to the class, and I would make sure that she didn't talk. She we came in to inform my specific class about what happened. We didn't inform the whole school. I mean, basically the knew administrators and my teachers knew what was going on with me. No one else knew. So, and I would regulate what my mom would say to the class, because I was like, nah, that's too personal. I don't want you to go there. And so I would just I would hate talking about it. Like, I don't know, like, even when I was in 7th grade and my school nurse was talking about it, I just cried. So that's how long I don't know how long it took me to get over it, but like, it was a long time. And I that in 7th grade I was like 13, wait, 12 maybe. Um I so yeah, and then so when I did fully come back to school, I was walking again. Uh, Not like awesomely, but I was walking, but I needed help to walk. I could still fall, and I just wasn't walking in a straight line. I could write, but it was not a good thing. It was not the best. I mean, like, when you're little, when you're that young, your writing looks terrible, cuz like, if you have anyone who I I I bet anyone who's my age can go back, if they could go back and look at their writing when they were in elementary school, they'd be like, "Oh, my writing was atrocious back then." Um but yeah, my writing was still was very all over the place, and like, I would think I would be writing in a straight line, but then it would be like the and then it would just incrementally go down, and I was just like, why do I always do that? But that's the ataxia. And yeah, and just like, so I had to help. I had to have help to do stuff. I had to have help to go. I couldn't walk up. Like, you know how in schools they have elevators, but only the teachers can use them, and only the disabled students can use them, or something. Like, you have to have permission to. Yeah, I had to use the elevator, so I couldn't. Or if I went down the stairs, I would have to have someone. I would have to take someone down to go downstairs with me, or upstairs with me. And so I remember in 3rd grade, I had my teacher would always say, my walking got a lot better, but it was still to the point where people were concerned. So I remember, like, I would have to, when I would walk up the stairs, I would have to stomp my feet, because the doctors would tell me that's my brain. That would my brain would react to, like, oh, she's stepping up the stairs. This is what I have to do. And I remember I got caught by a staff member, and they took me to the principal's office, and I was just like, oh man. And so they explained to the staff member, so I was okay. And I remember also that the teacher said there's a staff bathroom on that floor, and she was just like, and you have to use the staff bathroom, or you have to take someone to go to the student bathroom, because the student bathroom was down one flight of stairs. And so I hated going to the staff bathroom, and I also hated asking someone for help so I could go to the student bathroom. So it was just like, so what I did was I would say I need to go to going to the bathroom, and I would go to the staff bathroom. And I went to the student bathroom, and I walked, and like I knew at that time, like I told you, I was a pretty smart kid. I knew why I wasn't, because if anything happened to me, they would be responsible for it happening to me if I fell downstairs. And so my teacher would catch me a few times, like, you went down to the student bathroom without getting one of your classmates to go with you. I was like, oh, but I don't want to take them away from. I don't want to, like, I have to go to the bathroom. I don't want them to have to wait for me. And so one time I went to the staff bathroom, and then one of the staff members, are you supposed to be using this bathroom? And I was like, yes. And so I was just so embarrassed. So this is, and like, that was the point where probably like the middle of second grade to the beginning and end of third grade, that was the point where I was just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I just stopped talking. I just stopped. I just was more involved in myself. And also, like, just a lot of kids just, that was when a month is like, for a little kid, is like 2 years. So a lot of my friends made new cliques with each other, and so I was just out of the clique. So, and and yeah, that was, so I just stopped really talking. I stopped doing everything. I stopped yeah, I just was more involved in myself and less involved with people. And that grew and grew, and I got more comfortable with myself and no one else around me. And yeah, now I'm like that. Um I don't want to say sometimes, like, when I'm like really sad, I'm like, man, I just wish I could become a hermit. Or just like, I'm really frustrated with humans in general. I'm just like, I'm gonna become a hermit someday. But I don't do that. And and also I just when I was a young, and I was, that probably contributed to my introvertedness, if that's a word. I don't know. Um, but I feel like but even when I was younger, my mom would say, like, this goes into, like, I feel like I don't INFJ type, HSP type thing, empathy type thing. I was like, my mom always said I had a high um she always said I was very in tune with people, and like I could read people very well, and like I still can, obviously, and stuff affects me very well, but usually the HSP thing is more of a like an immuno system, like some like having a sensitive immune system thing. It's not really psychological, but I get that it can't, like, hearing like the scrape of chalk, or like hearing like the scrape of pan or something, that is like, like I even when people hug me and then they start talking, that like just makes me because I can feel the vibrations of them, and it just makes me so uncomfortable. That's kind of why sometimes I don't want people to hug me. So I'm like, you can't do it correctly. So, because um, so that's pretty much my experience. Um, and I feel like I still can read people very well. Um, and I feel like I also feel like I do have a high intuition about things. And that's basically what I wanted to say. So in retrospect, I think that most of the stuff, like I feel like you can be you I feel towards being an introvert, you are on the spectrum of being introvert, it's more of a learned thing. But I mean, again, introvert and extrovert is on a spectrum. Most people are ambiverts. It's just one person has more of a tendency to lean towards introvert than extrovert. Because if you were a real introvert, you would become like a hermit. So, um, and with the empathy, it's just like, yeah, you can, and the psychological stuff, you can just be. I feel like you can be born with it, because I don't know. It's just there, cuz it's hard to explain. Um that's all I want to say for now. Um yeah. So see you next time. Peace.